Because you're basically insinuating that refs are getting paid. People think that the game is not fixed. If we could if we ever get to the point, any sport, if they found out, it would ruin the sport. It would ruin the sport.
Kyle, have you ever heard about the conspiracy Operation Slapshot, where allegedly Wayne Gretzky and his wife were implicated in an illegal gambling ring, and the NHL covered it up, and they're still covering it up?
No, I've not. That's news to me. I've heard the term Operation Slapshot, but I never knew what it was. So enlighten me.
Yeah. So welcome back to guys to the Hidden Scoreboard Podcast. We explore mysteries and situations that happen with our favorite sports teams, players, coaches, and we encourage you to question everything you thought you knew about sports and sports entertainment, right? I'm starting to think more and more of these sports are just actual entertainment, and there's a little bit more of that's going on behind the scenes than what we realize. So I'm Sky. I'm your sports guy. I love everything sports. Joining me today is my co-host. This is my cousin, Kyle. Hey, Kyle, how are you?
Hello, everyone. Glad to be here. You look beautiful as always.
Yeah. And if you wanted a little information about Kyle, you can find it at the bottom of the screen there on the ticker. So Kyle isn't just a sports fan like me. He's a diehard Chicago Bulls fan. He loves the Broncos, the Cincinnati Reds, likes hip hop and gangster music. His favorite artist is DMX. And he likes sports almost as much as me. So
right.
Just so you guys all know who the co-host is that's joining me today. Before we jump too far into Operation Slapshot and kind of everything that's behind this, I do want to thank our 7 subscribers on YouTube and 6 subscribers on Spotify. I know that's not like a crazy number, but the fact that anybody would listen to us means a lot. So thank you for doing that. Please, we're not charging any fees on the show. I never plan on monetizing this in that way. So do me a favor and share the show. That's your admission fee. That's your fee for being here with us. And then comment below. Let us know on conspiracies you want us to do, segments you want us to do, things that we're doing good, things that we're doing bad. We want the feedback and we want to interact with you guys. So thank you to potentially 13 total people, but I got a feeling that some people might be double subscribers. Just means a lot to us.
We're double dipping. Double dipping.
Yeah, they're getting a double, right? Double dose.
That's right. Get all the stats we can. Add the stats. It's a conspiracy.
Exactly right. So, and then if you want to contact us, you can find that at thehiddenscoreboard@gmail.com. If you want to contact us directly, or you can message us on Facebook or Instagram. Like I said, drop a comment, let us know what you like, what you hate, what you love, all those good things. So with all that being said, today's episode, we're going to explore Operation Slapshot. This was an illegal gambling ring that was discovered by the New Jersey State Police. The conspiracy theory is that Wayne Gretzky was involved and that the NHL is still covering it up. So,
wow.
Yeah, pretty intense allegation there.
Yeah.
And if you haven't, if you haven't heard about it, yeah, he's the hockey goat, right? So, if you haven't heard about this, it's because it started in 2006, right? So you and me I think we were sophomores or juniors in high school.
High school. Yep.
Yeah. So, even if you're like a diehard sports person, you might not, even as a kid, you might not be like super in tune with the things that are going on outside the sport.
So was
I never really
still playing? Was he he was retired by then, wasn't he?
Yep, I'm going to go into all of that.
Okay,
so the way that today's episode is going to go, Kyle, we're going to give everybody like a brief overview of Wayne Gretzky. If you're not a diehard NHL fan, you probably heard the name, but you don't realize how important he is to the sport.
Right.
Like you said, he is the hockey GOAT, and second place isn't even close.
Right.
Right. People are debating LeBron and Jordan. Unfortunately, there's no debate in hockey. I mean, number 2 is like Mario Lemieux, and unless you're a sports nut like me, you probably don't even know who that is. And then you have like Sidney Crosby, maybe number 3 or 5, whatever.
Yeah, big difference.
Right. I mean, it's just like JV to varsity. It's that big of a jump.
Right.
So also we're going to go over some like facts and findings about the actual investigation. So this isn't like the theory part. This is like what is confirmed by multiple sources. And then finally, me and Kyle will kind of just chop it up, and I'll share my theory with you, Kyle. I want to hear yours.
Yeah. I'm interested, man. You got me hooked.
As we go through this, just be sure to react honestly and kind of let me know what you're thinking. So let's jump into the first part. Let's do this part quick because nobody wants to hear a bunch of just information about one player, but we do want to set the tone for how important this guy was, for the NHL in general.
Yeah.
So 1961, Gretzky's born January 26th. He's a Canadian, Canadian American, right? So, and he was a player and a coach, which you already alluded to. I'm surprised you knew a little bit about that, because I didn't realize he coached personally.
Yeah.
I didn't know that about Wayne. So
yeah, I did know that.
20 seasons in the league, right? There's only so many GOATs in every sport that play 20 seasons. So that's always a huge accomplishment. 1979 to 1999.
Which have you ice skated recently?
Nope, I've not been ice skating. I've not been ice skating since my accident.
20 years of ice skating, man. That's a heck of a feat, bud.
Dude, that's like really hard on your ankles and your feet and your knees. There's some of the best athletes in the world.
Unbelievable. Yeah, go ahead.
So his nickname, he's got one of the, he's kind of like the LeBron James, right? LeBron's the chosen one. This guy is the great one. Except for his isn't debatable.
Right.
He's been called the greatest ice hockey player ever. Based on surveys, writers, ex-players, GMs, and coaches. I mean, this isn't just the fans or media anointing him. This is his peers. So I think that's just so important when you talk about the greatness of a player.
Yeah, respect.
Right,
respect
and like
your peers. Yeah, that's above all else.
Yeah, that's one thing that I think like sports like baseball do really well with the writers kind of deciding who gets in.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like they take the opinion of the players and peers into consideration with that sometimes.
Yeah.
I think they do a good job of that. So anyway, Gretzky, he's the leading career goal scorer, assist producer, and point scorer in NHL history. He has more assists than any other player has total points. So not only does he have the most points, if you took away all of his points, he would still have more points because in hockey, they give you a point for the assist.
Right.
I mean, just
unreal.
Nuts.
Just unreal.
He's the only player to have 200 points in a season, and he did it 4 times.
Wow. Okay. Yeah, I know, like you said, he's the GOAT of hockey, but I've never looked at stats like that. That's nuts.
I mean, he's been out of the league for 26 years.
Yeah,
nobody's done it.
No
let
one's
alone
done
do
that
it 4 times.
Season.
Right.
Yeah,
it's never been done.
Crazy.
Gretzky also tallied over 100 points in 15 professional seasons. At the time of his retirement in 1999, he held 61 NHL records, 40 regular season records, 15 playoff records, and 6 All-Star records.
So I bet he shares that stat you had on Wilt of holding the most record in hockey.
Ooh, I would assume. Yeah, I didn't. That's a great. Yeah. That's a great call on that. I didn't even think.
Yeah, he has
to check that.
No way.
Yeah, I'd give somebody $100 bill if I'm wrong on that.
Yeah.
Yeah. They'll just have to get it in increments of a penny at a time, and we'll get the mailing address out to you. Put it in the comments below.
Right.
Okay, so that's kind of who Gretzky is. Like, that's how important this dude is. And I did want to play a quick clip that I found. This is the Dan Patrick Show. It's one of my favorite sports shows.
What up, Dan?
What's up, DP and the boys? So we're huge fans, guys. So we're not trying to jock your content. You just had a great interview here with the leading NHL analyst, and kind of doubling down on what I said about his peers. This is one of his peers talking to him, and they just draw a lot of conclusions. So this is about a 1 minute and 25-second clip here. So let's just jump into this real quick.
Is Wayne the best player of all time? Well, I don't. I think he might be the best athlete of all time. If you ask me, I'm a little biased because I got to see pure genius for all the years I played with him and against him. His numbers stack up that nobody can compare from a statistical standpoint. So, if you want to talk about the best athlete over the last century, my guess would probably be Wayne Gretzky.
But I wonder, and the reason why I say this, we look at Michael Jordan, and LeBron can't surpass Michael Jordan in a lot of people's minds. What would it take for somebody to surpass Gretzky as the greatest player of all time?
Well, it's all subjective, as you know, because we really are comparing, athletes from different eras, and the game has changed, technology, science, training. I mean, everything's changed. Athletes are getting bigger, stronger. But what you can do is you can compare different athletes of what they did to their contemporaries when they played the game. And if you just do that statistically alone, Wayne's numbers just outshine everybody's from what he did to the competition. So I'm not sure how you can really judge it other than people have their opinions, and certainly they have their favorites. I mean, Michael Jordan was an easy guy to like, and the Bulls run was magical. Even if you weren't a Bulls fan, you couldn't take your eyes off it. Compelling TV. So, but like I said, I'm a little biased with Wayne. And
so when you talk about popularity in a sport, it's like in golf, you got Tiger Woods. Basketball, yep. Michael Jordan really made it. He was like the first, in my mind, like world athlete for the NBA.
Right.
Baseball, I think it's a little bit more open, as far as the greatness. But in hockey, it's Gretzky. So
no doubt.
This dude is on that same. He's on that same level.
Yeah, he's on the Mount Rushmore of sports.
Period. Right.
Yeah.
So I just thought that was such a good clip, and I thought, if there's the first thing that Dan Patrick's going to is Michael Jordan and LeBron James, the fact that he can't even use somebody in the same sport as him to compare him.
Right. Yeah. You just can't.
It's a wrap. Right.
Yeah.
So
good.
All right, so let's set the scene here for you, Kyle. Like I said, it's 2006. It's actually February 6th, 2006, when the Operation Slapshot goes public. The year before, this is an important detail, the NHL was coming out of a lockout year.
Okay.
We know as basketball fans, we've been through a couple lockouts.
We have.
And I always feel like the league is a little bit more sensitive to get those fans back.
Yep. They're motivated.
Okay?
They're motivated.
Right. So I'm setting the, as a lawyer, I'm setting my, what's the motive, right, for the crime here. So they're coming out of the lockout year. Gretzky, he's the one, right? He's the great one. So he's took over now as a coach and partial owner of the Arizona Coyotes.
Okay.
So he's done a lot for the sport, and he continues to be a face in the sport.
Okay.
Right. So 2006, February 6th happens. Rick, I want to say Touchet. I might be pronouncing that wrong. It's Tocchet. So Touchet, maybe.
Touche.
Touche. There you go. I like that.
I'm kidding. I have no idea.
It could be.
Yeah.
He's on an indictment along with Janet Jones Gretzky, who she's an actress, but she's Wayne Gretzky's wife, related to Operation Slapshot when it goes public.
Okay.
So Touchet is the assistant coach of the Coyotes. This guy is one of 3 assistant coaches. He's working directly with Gretzky. He's on an indictment with Gretzky's wife. Very interesting. At the time, he's 41 years old. He had a really good career too. I put this in here because I wanted to, I don't want to tear down Rick too much. Also, I do, they made him guilty of some things on here, but I felt like it was important to acknowledge him as a player, just being the sports fan that I am. Nobody's perfect, right? We're all humans.
Right.
So 18-year career.
Okay.
Pretty big.
Yeah. Nice.
Yep. 3 seasons with the Coyotes, the team he's coaching. So he's got some team history there.
Okay.
And he's one of only 4 players in NHL history to have 400 goals and 2,000 penalty minutes.
Okay.
So he's a little bit of a bad boy.
Can I throw a stat in there? I just looked this up because I'm curious. So
yeah.
got 20 years. This guy's got 18 years. The average length of an NHL career, how long do you think?
Ooh, the NFL is, I think, 3. I'm going to go 2.
Yeah, it's like 2 or 3. Yeah, NFL's 2 or 3. NHL's 4.5. So these guys are all playing 4 or 5 times the average career length. Just a little. I think that's a little interesting.
Yeah, that's surprising with as physical as it is, and
yeah.
I mean, but it's a gladiator sport. Maybe there just comes a point where you're just a part of it.
Right. Anyway, go ahead.
No, you're fine. He's also described by like his peers as a good guy and a funny guy. Like this is somebody who's well liked in the league. He's been on several teams. He was a fan favorite for the Philadelphia Flyers. He had 2 stints, 1984 to 92, and then he comes back in 2000 and plays again till 2002. So, he's somebody where fans like him, his teammates like him, and then he plays on the Coyotes, and then obviously Gretzky likes him to make him a coach.
Yeah, clearly.
When you're the head coach and the owner, and I'm assuming you're probably picking your staff.
And you're
right. Like there's some stuff in here about the GM, but I'm going to assume we know who the real GM is.
Right.
Is that fair?
Wayne's calling the shots. Got it.
So as a part of the investigation, this was a 5-year investigation, right? So this is 2006. So this is going back to 2001, back when Touche was still playing, right?
Okay.
2000 to 2002, he's on the Flyers there in Philadelphia. A suspended state trooper, James Harvey, is supposedly his partner in this operation. Okay. And just to kind of like put this out here too, to anybody who's listening or might not understand the timeline, this is 2006. There are no sports betting apps. If you want to bet on sports, you have to go to 2 places right now. It's Atlantic City, New Jersey, and Vegas. Those are the only. That's it. That's all that's available.
Sure, there's probably a small little underground world, but yeah.
Well, that's what these people were a part of.
Yeah, okay.
And the problem with that, the reason it was breaking the law, just to explain this too, is you're concealing your income. When you win at one of these big casinos now, or even a sports book, it's all tracked on paper, and they make you pay taxes on it. They make you claim it as income. That's what's quote unquote wrong with what they're doing here is they're gambling and then they're embezzling the money because they're concealing the source of their income. If that makes sense.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So that's what the crime is. Interesting part about the whole operation, the inquiry suggested that there was another NHL owner, several active NHL players, as well as coaches and other team staff members. As of February 8th, right? So this is 2 days later, 2 additional names surfaced implicating law enforcement officials. And then there's a couple players they name in here as well. And then the gambling ring was said to have connections to the Bruno Scarfo crime family that's based in Philly.
Okay.
All right. So we have a connection to Touche in Philly. He's a fan favorite.
Yeah.
And this crime family. And the investigation goes back to when Touche was there.
Okay.
So there's a lot of arrows pointing at him.
Dots are connected.
We're going to point some arrows. There's Gretzky in a minute. The operation that they know of involved processing over 1,000 wagers totaling more than 1.7 million within a 40-day period alone.
Oh, wow.
This investigation was 5 years long. Wow. That's just 40 days.
Yeah. So you're talking
these people met
hundreds
2 million,
millions, billions.
Oh, easily.
Yeah.
Easily. I mean, at that rate, what is that? 1.6, you got 40 divided by 365. Let's just call it 8 times 1.7. They're doing 10 million a year.
Yeah.
I mean, that's probably more than some of these, unfortunately at that time, some of these NHL franchises. The NHL hasn't always been the money league. No. And I know they're making a lot more money now, but this is 2006, right?
Right. Right after a lockout, you just lost your fan base. Yep. I feel you.
So the bets were placed on professional college sports, football, basketball, futures, and supposedly nobody was betting on hockey. Supposedly. Yeah, I just thought that was like an interesting thing that the newspaper that reported this put in there.
Yeah.
They're accusing all these hockey people, but they're like, but there was no hockey. So whatever.
Huh. Yeah.
Additional context here, I put these developments arose at a sensitive time. They were dealing with the lockout. And then another thing was coming around the corner was the Olympics. So hockey is a very international sport, especially with Canada and Russia.
Yeah.
And, here we are, the USA, the NHL, they want to go show off their talent. This is, for them, this isn't just like FIBA and basketball about being the best. This is a recruiting tool to bring the best players in the world to the USA.
Right.
And without those international players coming in, they just don't get that. Okay. So let's draw some dots to Gretzky and his wife. Okay. And this is the last part here. And then I'm going to share with you my theory. So Gretzky is recorded on a wiretap. That's how deep this investigation was.
Okay. They're in.
He's talking to the alleged financier of the gambling operation about how his wife, Janet Jones, can avoid being implicated.
Okay. So basically admitting it.
Bro, how are you not gambling if you're talking about how to keep your wife out of trouble for gambling?
How are we keeping ourselves clean here?
Also, it's like you're a husband and wife. You're a team. Like,
what's
bro, if she's gambling, is it her money or your money?
Right.
Like, I get it. She's an actress, but I never heard of her.
Right. I was about to ask you, what movie is she in?
Yeah. I didn't do any research on her. And to tell you the truth, that's something I'm going to get here to the end. There's not a whole lot of research out there anymore about this.
Okay.
Another thing here, the new Star Ledger reported that there was no evidence of Gretzky placing bets. Investigators are examining whether his wife bet on his behalf. His wife said, "I could," and this is in quotes, "In no instance did I ever place a wager for my husband. Besides the occasional sports race, the occasional horse race, my husband does not bet on sports."
Huh.
I didn't place any bets for him, but when he bets on horses. Like, you're telling us he sports bets.
Right.
It should be nothing at all. Why are you admitting to anything?
Right.
Like, I don't know. That just seemed odd. The newspaper also indicated that the wife, we'll just call her Jones here, Janet Jones, placed $500,000 in bets during the investigation. So $100,000 a year.
Yeah.
That's not chump change.
No, even for, someone.
Even for them.
Yeah.
And then 75,000 of that was on just one Super Bowl.
Huh.
Yeah.
Did they win?
I tried really hard to find that out.
Yeah. What would the payout be on that? Phew.
Right. All right. So here's my last piece of evidence that I'm going to play here, Kyle. Okay. And here's my theory. Before I play the evidence, or actually, here, I'll play the evidence and then I'll give you my theory. Here it comes. Are you ready?
Connor's just finishing up. He's gonna be pumped you're here.
Oh, no rush. Come on! Drain that three!
Trying to practice here, Wayne.
You need it. Yes! That's that way, bud.
Shouldn't you be golfing?
So that ad was brought to us by BetMGM, not a sponsor.
Yeah.
So here is my last thing. I was doing a ton of research on this, and this is what really kind of set me over the edge. When you search Wayne Gretzky gambling on Google, all you get is the sports gambling ads now. And I feel like it's the NHL's way of covering up this previous evidence that's out there.
So they making it
to make it harder and harder to find, because Google is going to bring forth the results that are more recent.
Right.
So my theory is this: he was absolutely involved. The NHL helped him cover it up. Touche fell on the sword. he got thrown under the bus for the whole thing because the NHL's like, look, this is the face of our league. He's retired. We got to keep him as a coach. We're coming out of a lockout year. Olympics are around the corner. We'll do whatever, throw some money at this thing, whatever, blah, 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 or, the whole thing, protect Gretzky at all cost and move on.
Yeah.
It's kind of like, remember when Tiger Woods had all his drama in the PGA?
Yeah. Yeah.
I felt like the PGA reported it and didn't comment on it at all.
Yeah. Yeah. They didn't make it as big of a deal as it was.
It was all the other outlets.
Right.
So
yeah, it was the outlets that wanted to break it. The ones that were connected to the sport don't want to break it.
Exactly.
Yeah, because it's not good for the brand.
So do you have a theory about this?
Well, I mean, you just dropped all this on me. And you said at the beginning when you were introducing the show and all that it seems the more that we maybe it's just because we're getting old. I don't know. It's like get off my lawn, but it's like it is almost like all these sports leagues is more. I mean, obviously it's here for entertainment, but there does seem like there's more of a hidden agenda behind everything that goes on. The more time goes on, and the more information becomes available with the internet, and just how many resources are out there. Even if they're able to wipe some of it clean, I mean, you were able to find out what little research you were able to find out on this, and I mean, it is interesting. I mean, like you said, all the dots kind of align where it's like, the timing, the need, what did the
you look at Touche he's there in between 2000 and 2002. The investigation starts in 2001, right? There's a crime family from Philly involved. Touche's in Philly.
Right. Okay.
Right. Touche
the dots are there.
Indicted. They have evidence of the wife gambling. Everybody in the sport knows Gretzky. Touche and him knew each other. They're coaching together.
Correct.
There's just, I mean, if there was ever somebody to be guilty by association,
I mean,
he's got to be, right?
And like you said, you got the wife's doing the work, and Gretzky's on a wiretap saying, how do we protect my wife? But
smoking guns.
But then she's saying, well, we never gamble except every now and again. It's like,
yeah, there was another quote.
It's like on my dating profile. It's like drinks occasionally. Well, so somebody's lying.
Yeah, I mean, it's like one of those things too. It's like there was another quote where she goes, besides going to Vegas, we never gamble. It's like,
right,
huh?
Right.
Like,
but
you're in Arizona.
They got a home in Vegas or something, like,
Well, they're in Arizona. They're not far from Vegas.
Yeah.
That's not a stretch.
Yeah. So, I mean, I definitely think so. Were they doing this to get more money into the league? It was that the goal, or?
I don't think that was the motive. I think that the NHL was motivated to sweep this up because they're trying to preserve the brand.
Yeah.
But I think the people that were involved with this, it's an income motivation. They're at the time, they're on the lower end of professional athletes as far as like income go. I mean, there's some hockey players still out there today only making I think 130,000 or something. I mean, and not that that's not a lot of money to the average Joe, but to an athlete, I mean, these NFL guys start off at 500,000 league minimum. And that's to be a practice dummy.
So was there any evidence you found where they were fixing anything or doing anything to their advantage? Like Pete, like is Pete Rose rolling over in his grave and pissed off at Wayne Gretzky? I mean,
exactly. So that's the interesting thing. I mean, I read articles from ESPN. I read from the article from that what was that newspaper? The Newark Star Ledger.
Okay.
I read articles from Fox Sports, or what was it? TSN. I'm sorry, like the Canadian sports one. And then I read a couple other independent ones, and it was like, it's like there was some hush money out there because everyone's like, oh, yeah, they were betting on everything besides hockey. Like, I just thought it was odd to even notate they're gambling on everything besides hockey. Like, why are you even put that in the article?
Right. Like we didn't suspect it till you brought it up.
Well,
like
it's also like, why wouldn't they gamble on the thing they know best?
Yeah, absolutely.
I mean, we're talking about hyper competitive athletes, Kyle. They like to win more than you.
Oh
and me
yeah,
do.
yeah. They're addicted.
I mean, bro, I'll cheat at Monopoly.
Yeah, whatever it is, they're addicted.
I can't imagine a world where they go, yeah, so and so I heard isn't playing tonight. It'd be a shame if someone didn't bet on that. I mean, it's just nuts. So I'd just be shocked.
Yeah.
I think your camera kind of froze there. Any final thoughts, Kyle, about this whole conspiracy?
No, I mean, like I said, I've heard the Slapshot, maybe I didn't really ever know what it was. I've heard of it, but yeah, that's interesting. I'll have to do some more research on it, read up on it.
Anything you want to leave the people with?
As Sky said in the beginning, man, I think there's a little bit of a hidden agenda out there for it all. It's making me wonder more than I ever have before the last few years. Like I said, I might just be getting old and want the kids off my grass, but it's it's changed. My perspective on sports has changed over the last few years, and this podcast is really cool. And appreciate you having me on, man.
Yeah, and I want to have you on again. I think this was pretty fun. If you've enjoyed liking and listening to us and watching us, please drop us a comment. Once again, follow us on Facebook, Instagram, YouTube at the Hidden Scoreboard. We really, really appreciate you. And I want to hear from you. Do you think Wayne Gretzky was gambling? I'll see you guys next Monday about 12:15.
There was a lot said by everybody, except for me, to tell you the truth. So we'll let people keep talking like they know everything, like they have all the answers. And then sooner or later, the whole truth will come out. And until then, we'll continue to let people talk.